It's in the olden days where I wasn't alive.
You weren't there?
Yeah. I may have been, but I think I was busy somewhere else.
Yeah.
I am also several hundreds of years old.
I don't know. I feel like you would be in the kitchen getting booze.
I mean, that's definitely my MO, to be fair. Or making drunk pasta for people, whether they want food or not.
I love your drunk pasta.
Yeah, I have an issue. Never come to my house. I will feed you until you explode.
I love it.
Most will agree that it is on the staircase. A local doctor, Philip Minus, was acquitted because witnesses said that he was acting in defense, and the locals didn't like Stark. Once again, he took a lot of money from people, and an upstanding doctor human was like, oh, no, I killed him.
Like, he knew he could get away with it.
Yeah, he was like, he stole all of my money, and people were like, that's okay, we don't like him that much anyway.
So, was he stealing money, or did he win it because he was really good at gambling?
I believe he won it, but there was a conversation in one of the things I had read about him maybe getting it from, the old card up the sleeve sort of situation.
Oh, yeah. No.
But once again, not there, don't really know. I also don't live there, as you would know. I feel like a lot of these histories, unless it's completely validated over a lot of different sources, I take with more of a grain of salt. I just would like to make sure that everything is out there for people to hear with their heads. As the Civil War intensified, the tension between the Southern people and the Northerners grew so bad that many were forced from the towns. So anyone in the South that had come from the North because of, better jobs or work in any capacity would be actively pushed from the town. In November 1860, James Sinclair had left New York for Savannah to find work and had stayed at the city hotel. Locals had tried to pressure him into leaving, and when that had not worked, they formed a lynch mob, dragged him from the hotel, and he was beaten to near death. In 1864, the city was mostly deserted as General Tecumseh Sherman had planned to lead the Union Army through Georgia.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that was my thought. I was thinking about the burning of Atlanta, and I was going back to Gone with the Wind. There's that scene where everybody is leaving town, and, they're all so scared because the Yankees are coming. Right. So it's like they were pushing the Northerners out, but then all of a sudden the Northerners were like, ha, no, we're coming back with torches.
There's a lot of validity to that because when the Union forces would come through the southern towns, a lot of them would be rip, roar, and torn and completely decimate on purpose just to add insult to injury, as well as killing a lot of civilians for no good reason. Like, it's just a lot of
raping and pillaging.
Yeah, like basically pirate style coming through some of these southern towns.
Yeah.
And because it had happened to several of the towns, obviously that information got passed down to other people who were kind of on the route to be like, hey, warning, terrible things are about to happen, so maybe scoot. Just leave everything. Leave. Just go home. Like somewhere else. By the time he had reached Savannah, almost no one had remained, but luckily the buildings had survived the destruction. The space was used as storage during the war and a makeshift hospital during the multiple cases of yellow fever.
Ooh.
Hundreds of people, mostly children, had died on the upper floors. Additionally, it was used as a lumber and coal storehouse, general storage, and in the 1960s, the space was renovated as an office supply store with a printing press.
Ooh.
Yeah, they got fancy.
They were moving on up in the world.
They were like, look, we probably need this, so let's do this, and we'll be incredibly technologically relevant.
Yeah.
Hurricane David had closed the space down in 1979 after it took the roof off completely. From there, it stood vacant until 1995 when renovations started to convert the building to the brewery. It's still open. That's where we're gonna go.
I mean, I figured.
Also, they have a porter that sounds really tasty and a stout, which I was like, but is this all year round?
What kind is that?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read their list, but I remember being like, I'm sure it's probably another oatmeal stout, but still. Like, I like oatmeal stouts. The brewery officially finished construction in 1999. During remodeling efforts, a foreman's wife was pushed down the stairs by an unseen force, and locals say that he had resigned immediately and that the upper floors still remain untouched. I can't imagine that's super all true, but I could understand why you'd maybe not want to continue a job when your wife was pushed down the stairs.
Yeah.
It definitely spooked her enough that she was like, all right, and we're done. And we're done, though. But we're finished.
Yeah. I mean, good on that guy for believing her and not being like, well, then I'll just finish it myself,
Right, like the Vinoy where, like, the wife was like, hey, look, we're leaving because I saw everything turn on, the toilet kept flushing.
Yeah.
And he was like, but wait, no. And she was like, that's okay, we're already in another hotel. peace out, cup story. Absolutely not.
Enjoy. Riding away from that bullshit like Toodaloo, motherfucker.
The upper floor's haunting may be due to a glowing white apparition believed to be what locals refer to as Miss Johnson. She also stares from the upper banister in a period dress. A guest on a ghost tour was talking to her guide and had mentioned her least favorite part was the actor hired for a cheesy scare tactic that didn't seem to be doing her job. She described the woman as wearing a period dress and walking behind her guide, eventually disappearing ineffectively into a room.
And that actor was a ghost.
Yeah. The tour guide had told her that they've hired no actors and that she was the only one in her group that had seen that woman. Because this woman was up in arms. She was irritated, like super irritated about the fact. She was like, if you're going to hire an actor, at least make her do her job. Also, I didn't like that. I thought it was really cheesy and stop it. And the tour guide was like, wait, what do you mean?
That's so funny. That's so funny.
A worker had heard someone walking upstairs and had gone to investigate. Clearly found no one there. It is a ghost story after all. Quote, it sounded like they walked right past me and I felt a chill and I got the heck out of there.
As you do.
Yeah, when you're like, all right, maybe not today.
Not tomorrow either.
No, none of the days. Supposedly people have seen several famous ghosts here as well. Edgar Allan Poe, Jean Lafitte, Robert E. Lee, and even Lincoln apparently have frequented the brewery. Workers have reported a number of experiences not only within their own community, but also guests that are in the brewery as well.
I feel like the spirits of Edgar Allan Poe and Lincoln are very busy.
Yeah, they're spoken for. They're Lafitte as well. Lafitte pops up in Lafitte's blacksmith shop, also Lafitte's in exile, and then I was told that he was walking the streets somewhere else, like in Georgia type area, like port towns. It's like Lincoln is everywhere though. There's so much.
They're busy.
Yeah, they're very busy. They have an active ghost social life. The operations manager, Christopher Lewis, said, quote, I've been sitting in my office before and had bottles thrown at me off the shelf. I've seen shadows walking by and heard little kids playing that aren't really there. I think it's so great.
Well, I mean, the kids thing is great. The having bottles thrown at me thing doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
But maybe they just want you to have a drink.
Yeah, they're like, loosen up, bro. A general manager, I'm not sure if it was Christopher Lewis or not, was pushed through a doorway also. People have seen silverware slide or be pulled from the tables and shadow people wander the building.
Oh, you know I don't like shadow people.
I know, and you're not going to like the rest of the story either. Chris Harding, a bartender, had, quote, watched a girl walk through the back door and walk up to the bar. She was, quote, fuzzy, and had gotten clearer before fading away while walking towards the bar. It was the day, by the way. It was not nighttime. It was not anything. She was just like, hello, I would like a beer. Never mind. I'm gonna toodaloo.
You gotta love a good daytime apparition.
Tour guide Carl Kessler was choked on the second level during the tour. He had also claimed to have felt, quote, like someone pouring ice cold water down my back. The employees are not the only ones experiencing the paranormal events. Several guests have reported something grabbing and squeezing their legs under the tables. A female, after one of these occasions, had gone to the bathroom. She was locked into a bathroom stall and was not released until she said, let me out of this stall. The stall door was completely unlocked, and as she was pushing on it, it would not open until she said that. When she had come back to the table, their server had said that happens all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Trapped in a bathroom.
R. Kelly should write a song about it.
I was just like trapped in the closet. Leave it alone, Whitney.
Coming on out of the bathroom.
A woman on a tour had panicked after hearing voices and, quote, an icy cold feeling along the right-hand side of her body. A man had felt a hand grab his scarf while walking down the stairs, thought it was the person in front of him, but he noticed that he was way too far away for this to actually be an occurrence.
That ghost was me. It's like, that's a cute scarf. Give it.
Another man who had only taken the tour because he could have a beer after the tour finished. He actually complained that he didn't want to go on the tour and that he picked this one specifically because it was in a brewery because his wife really wanted to go on a ghost tour. And he was like, fine, then we'll go to one where I can have a beer afterwards.
Yeah. And he wanted beer.
Yeah, he was like, if I'm gonna do this thing that I don't want to do, then you are buying me beer. He was not into it. But he was found weeping outside on the sidewalk. We've talked about the fact when grown men that don't believe in this are crying, then clearly there's something awry.
Yeah.
He said that something had grabbed him by the head, neck, and shoulders and wouldn't let him go until he left the space, literally having to take himself completely out of the brewery to feel okay again. And that's when he broke down and started crying, which he freely admits, which is also a thing. Good job, dude, being like, yeah, no, I cried.
If I was grabbed by the head, neck, and shoulders and something wouldn't let go to me, I'm pretty sure I might have a similar reaction to that.
Yeah. No, I'd be like, what is happening? A police officer had reported that he had seen a Union officer walking through the brewery as well. A female guest had claimed that there was a demonic entity that attacked her in the basement. Women in the basement also hear profanity and are scratched. Guests are pushed, touched, and slapped all over the brewery, especially in the basement. A grandmother who was unable to take the full tour because she has mobility issues.
Yeah.
Had stepped in to hear a story, which totally approved by the person that was running the tour at the time. I want to say it was Kessler, that it was like one of his friend's grandmothers. And she was like, I want to hear some history. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, whenever you can and wherever you can, pop on in.
Come on in. But she'd stepped in for a tail and felt a slap. No one was around her, but when she had left, she had a red slap mark on her arm. The next day, a deep right-handed bruise on her right arm developed.
Oh.
Which clearly you can't do that to yourself. Not even double-jointed people. That's too much. You cannot do that. James Stark, the gambler from before, apparently roams the main floor and sometimes the stairwell, but never all the way up. Some think that his spirit is held there after his murder. They're not sure. The upper floors boast a white lady, which we already talked about, Mrs. Johnson, a little bit earlier, and a number of children's ghosts, because during yellow fever epidemic, they were up there. Quote, hundreds of men, women, and children had died inside of the rooms in this building, so it's not too shocking that many of the poltergeists spotted in recent years are the spirits of children. The fourth floor has a, quote, dark energy, and paranormal investigators report knocking, footsteps, dragging sounds, voices, and a ton of shadowy forms walking between the doors or hidden inside of rooms. The basement is referred to as a, quote, EVP factory, especially in the rear, which produces EVP almost without fail day and night. And they've tried to, what I've been reading about it was that they've tried to make sure that when they are figuring that they're catching EVP, that the EVPs that they are catching aren't residual noise from the upstairs brewery or on the sidewalk or in these areas. And a lot of times the sounds that are outside, the ambient sounds, are not ones that they're catching via EVP.
I don't know that I would go into that basement. I don't mess with that demonic shit.
Some even report possessions and spirit attachments causing problems outside of the bar. So hitchhiking ghosts and stuff like that coming back home with you, and or possible possessions, change in demeanor when people get to their actual home or into their different lodging areas.
So people have things attached to them?
Mm-hmm. An entity named Toby, who's probably the most well-known entity in this place, quote, skulks around the billiards room, pushing and taunting patrons and staff. He's also been known to steal balls from the pool table. Some people say that he's super malicious. Some say that he's just messing around because he's a younger kid.
He's a sassy little honey badger.
He's real sassy.
Yeah.
Christopher Lewis, the general manager, had said that, quote, Toby is known to breeze past you or even push you out of the way. We don't know why he is here, but he likes to play tricks on people.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. No one in this brewery, and the people that are locally there and are regulars in this particular brewery, for a really long time, starting in the 90s, had not let those spirits get them down. And they would do a group toast, and they had used to put them on the website. When I had visited the website, they had a bunch of cheers, and one of the regulars would pop up, or sometimes it was just visitors, and they would do a little toast, and they'd be like, oh, I love this place, it's wonderful, it doesn't have to be the bar, or hey, my granddaughter got married, la-di fucking da, things and stuff. But their quote generally, in the manner of which they try to live their life, is enjoy the beer but try not to anger the ghosts, and if all else fails, follow the traditional toasts that always end with, now shut up and drink your beer. So whatever you have to toast to, the ending of it always is, now shut up and drink your beer. And I thought it was a real fun, tradition. I think it's lovely.
But then do they say cheers after that? Or do they, say, dilly dilly?
Oh, God, dilly dilly. So that was the Moon River Brewing Company.
Well, I loved it, and I would like to go there, just not the basement.
I want to go everywhere.
You can go in the basement.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get pinched and scratched. And profanity, which I'd answer back with more profanity.
Send me a postcard from the basement. Okay, so I did true crime, so I'm going to finish up the show with a toast for our coffee. May the winds of fortune sail you. May you sail a gentle sea. May it always be the other guy who says, this drink's on me.
Outstanding.
Cheers.
Cheers. And if you'd like to cheers with us, you can cheers with us on social media. We are on Twitter and sometimes on Snapchat at Shots in the Dark P.
We are on Instagram, Shots in the Dark Podcast. We also can be